Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Today's topic is dating while pregnant. Now, we have a letter, so let's dive right into this letter and see what she says. I am a 24-year-old woman and is currently pregnant. My unborn child's father and I decided to cordially co-parent due to a complicated situation. What is he, married? Prison? Somewhere you can't get to him? Okay. I feel as though just because we are having a baby doesn't mean we have to be up under each other. Well, it doesn't mean that you even have to be together, period. More or less up under each other. So I don't know what you mean by that. Apparently, he's not able to spend quality time with you. That's why I say he might be married or something like that, okay? Or living with somebody else or whatever situation. I'm currently pregnant and decided to date. And what made you decide that? Did you decide to date because you were tired of sitting home by yourself? The father can't get to you, so you want to be out with a man. So you figure, why not? Go on out and date other men. I think it's a bad idea. I went to dinner with a guy named Mr. Information Technology, in which we had good vibes and a good time there. While on the date, he kept asking me personal questions about my unborn child's father. Well, that was expected. He wanted to know where his baby daddy at. And why are you out here dating? Okay? Those are reasonable questions. A man wants to know what is he getting into. You understand? Some of the questions were personal, such as, how come you two are not together? Well, he wanted to know what happened. Was it you or was it him? And he just wants to get your point of view about what happened with your last relationship. And again, these are reasonable questions. How else is he going to get to know you if he doesn't ask you personal questions about you, about your situation, about this baby? Okay? What's the situation with you and your unborn child's father? I got annoyed with the questions because I feel like it's none of his business. Yes, it is his business because you have allowed him to date you. He doesn't want to get involved with somebody who's not being honest, who's not being open. No. Any man who asks you questions is curious. Why are you out here dating, number one, being pregnant? And number two is, what's your goal? He's thinking in his mind, why is she dating me? What she want? Okay. I went on another date with another guy, Mr. Electrician, and he told me, I'm not trying to be a stepfather. And why are you dating while pregnant? Well, he's pointing something out to you that apparently you don't see. I guess because you're just 24, you're young, naive, and you're probably upset that the father is not with you. Maybe you were hoping that he would leave whatever his situation is and marry you. And it didn't turn out like that. So now you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be sitting at home by myself. I'm going to find me somebody else. Just kind of revenge to get back at him, show him that you can find somebody even being pregnant. You don't want to do that. You're headed down the wrong path, a path of destruction, and the destruction is going to be on you. There's no good in the path that you are on right now. So take heed, okay? So this man said he's not trying to be no stepfather. I got offended because that was not my intention. Well, what was your intention? Did you tell him? Did you tell him what your intention was? If you didn't, But then he can only guess. That's what's happening. He just guessed that maybe you're looking for a daddy for that baby. Okay? I don't want to be underneath anybody. So you don't want to be underneath anybody. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean you don't want to sleep with anybody? Or you don't want to be dependent on anybody? Okay, that's two different things. All right. Now, if you don't want to be underneath anybody, which is sleeping with somebody, okay. But you got to understand something. Men date for sex. That's why they date, so they can get sex. So you being pregnant, I hope that you're not out here to have sex with these men, because how have you thought about it? Every time you have sex with anybody, pregnant or not, you are creating a spiritual soul bond with them. I don't think that's what you want. You don't want anything that deep. You just want validation. You want to feel loved and supported. Okay, but you're not getting it from the baby daddy. So you figure that you'll go out with other men and enjoy those things, and maybe he will respect you about being pregnant. You are deluding yourself. These men ain't going to respect you being pregnant. The only men that will accept you like you are right now, pregnant, and I don't know if are you showing, or do you, wait until you out on a date with these men and then throw that information out there, by the way, I'm pregnant. Is that the way you've been doing it? If you are showing, I'm surprised these men would even be on a date with you and then asking you these questions. So apparently you are just surprising them when you get on the date that you're pregnant. And this way, you want to see what their response is, whether they really like you like that or not. Men don't like women like that. Unless they spot the woman of their dreams, and that love at first sight thing, yeah. But that doesn't happen all the time. So for you to be out here, you need to realize what men want. They want sex. That's the bottom line. That's why they spend their money. That's why they take you on trips. That's why they do whatever you want them to do for sex. Okay? So you're deluding yourself if you think that a man is just going to take you out and wine you and dine you just because he wants to be in your company. Now, the thing about it is, if you weren't pregnant, well, that's a different story. He'll wine you and dine you because he sees some longevity in it. You see, and at the end of that longevity, maybe he really wants to be with you. All right? But with you being pregnant, that's a red flag right there. That's like, stop. No young man out here is looking for a ready-made family. You're 24. So if the men that you're dating are even in their early 30s, they ain't looking for no ready-made family unless they already have outside children somewhere. Unless they've already been married and had some kids and divorced and, they still got some out there. Then they may consider taking you with one because they're kind of used to kids. But somebody who doesn't have any kids, no, unless they found out that they can't have any kids, so they'll accept a woman with a kid. The other type of man that will date you and feel blessed that he got you, and he will love you, and he will love your baby. But this type of man is not the most handsome man. This type of man may be a broke man. This type of man has a lot of issues. You see? And all he wants is somebody, just a companion. Just somebody that he can talk to, somebody that'll rub his head like he's a little puppy. That's the kind of man that you would probably land. But these other men, like this information technician and this electrician. They meet women all day. Why would they settle for a woman with having a baby, having somebody else's baby, when they're at the age to have their own babies? You understand? You're like a fish swimming against the tide right now. And your ex that got you pregnant, he may have done that intentionally to stop you in your tracks, knowing that, number one, you'll always be linked to him in some way because of this baby. Okay? You know, men do that. They'll strap you down with a baby just to shut you down. And it looks like he may have done that to you, but now you're trying to retaliate and show him you're going to date anyway. You should not do that. That's the worst thing you can do ever. Now, I just want to get to know these men and date around. What does that mean? You get to know these men. How you plan to get to know a man who's only after sex? And why do you think that he's going to hang around you long enough for you to get to know him? Now, you may date a man who's known you before you got pregnant. That's a different thing. If he was attracted to you before you got pregnant, he may be more accepting of this situation. And if he knew you way before you even met your ex, he may be more accepting if he liked you back then. But a new man, I think he's just going to use you, break your heart. That's it. I feel as though just because I'm pregnant, it shouldn't stop me from having fun and living my life. What does that mean? Having fun. You pregnant. Your fun should be preparing for this baby. A baby is a very expensive endeavor. Having a baby. You need to be working on your financial status. You need to be working on your career. How you going to manage when this baby comes? And not worrying about a date. A date is the last thing you ought to worry about. Not unless you're already making money and all of that. You didn't indicate it here in this letter. But most women in your situation are just starting out. And now here you're pregnant. So right now, I don't know if your family's close, but you're really going to need some support, but not from these men. These men are not trying to support you. Like I told you, unless it's some man who's trying to trap you, who feels like he can't get nobody else, but he will settle on you. You probably would be the best thing for him, but your life will be miserable. And he will be no good for your child. You see? So I hope that you're not dating these men. You say you're not dating these men to fill in as a stepfather, but you just want to have fun and live your life. Well, you know what? You may need to wait until the baby comes. When you're not going to have much time for fun then, I can tell you that. Your fun days is over for a while, and living your life is going to be about raising this child. So I think you need to settle yourself down. Forget dating. Forget it. These men have nothing for you. And think about this. Whoever this last guy was that got you pregnant, you have a spiritual bond with him too. Okay? And unless you work on yourself and heal yourself from whatever anger, anxiety, or stress that he put you through, you're going to meet the same type of man over and over and over again, which means that these men are going to do the same thing to you. After you have this baby, then some man's going to come and give you another baby and another baby. You understand? It's a cycle. If you don't change the way that you think about yourself, it's all about the way that you value yourself. That's what throws you into this kind of destructive behavior. You got to love yourself. You got to know your worth. Now, when these guys date you, let's talk about what they think. Some of these guys have a fetish to date a pregnant woman. I know when I was pregnant with one of my children. I lived in New York, and I was on the subway going to work or coming back from work, and I was pretty big. And I remember this guy looking at me, smiling at me, winking at me, and I looked at him. I said, "What's this creep?" I mean, you know, in a city, you meet a lot of strange people, but I never had a man to hit on me, and I'm pregnant. I couldn't figure it out, so I just kind of turned him off, whatever like that. But I did some research, and I later found out that some men actually have a fetish, and they want to date pregnant women, but they have no intention on any kind of long-term relationship. It's just to feed their ego and their desire. That's all it is. They're just using you. And it's through sex. It's not through taking you out to the park and to the restaurant and stuff like that. No. Men do that for sex. You understand? And for you to be pregnant, think about this. Do you want a man putting his thing in you, beating your baby up against his head? Do you want that? I think that's disgusting. No. No. Stay pure. Stay clean. Stay decent. And this is going to affect your baby too, because your emotions will blend with the emotions that the baby will have. You understand? So you got to remain happy. And as long as you are engaging in these frivolous relationships, you can't be happy at all. But what keeps driving you is a fear of the unknown. That's what's pushing you out there. You don't know if you're going to be able to make it on your own. How are you going to support this baby? How are you going to take care of yourself? Where are you going to live? How are you going to eat? Are you going to be able to work? You understand? All these things are probably rushing through your mind, and that's what's forcing you to run out and date other men. Now, you claim that you just dating these men just for fun and living your life. This baby should be your life. For a while. This baby will probably be with you until he's 18. That's your life. You understand? So it's time really to grow up. Grow up. You're not a teenager anymore. You're a grown woman. You made grown woman decisions. But dating other men while you are pregnant is not a good decision. I hope that you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. I want to thank you so much for your comments and your letters, and a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best, and I really hope to see you next time.